last year there was this thing going around, and it was this grandmother who had Merry Christmas on her garage. These were like magnetic letters, and it got rearranged to creamy shits. Now I tried to find it again, and I was sitting on the couch with Jenna, and I Googled creamy shits grandma.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Don't ever.
Oh no!
I looked. Jenna was like, "Did you find?" I was like, "I don't know. I don't want to talk about what I found. I don't. I say I think I've done something wrong.
That's a Google image search you don't want.
FBI is looking for. I think yeah.
Yeah, you're on the radar.
It was no.
So every time this is how I work. When you say something, it reminds you of something. So last one off the record, when we were back at EMI with Gary O.
We're on the record now.
But when we first started working with Gary O, the internet was just coming around. It was pretty early.
I remember these days.
And he told me one time his son had switched from either football to soccer or soccer to football. And he was going to buy cleats online, the new cleats that he needed, the smaller ones for football. And he went to his computer at his house and he typed in Dix.com. Was not the sporting goods store at the time. He said he started getting pop-ups. He couldn't figure it. After a minute, he hears, Gary! His wife Jan's home. He said he had to pull the cord out of the wall because he couldn't get the dicks were popping up and he couldn't stop it.
The viruses were just flowing in.
Hey, glad I could be here today, guys. Just walking in. We're starting right now. Just walking through the door. Sorry I'm late. I just got here.
This might be the hottest intro ever.
No, dude.
I miss the EMI. I miss the traffic in the EMI days.
It was some good times over there, man. We think about it and we tell the stories often. It was great. It was a great place to be, a great place to learn about stuff. Just an awesome crew. It was always fun.
I had no idea what I was doing. I guess I was the first person Ben Vaughn signed over there.
Oh,
that's
when he came from Big Tractor.
Oh, hold on. I'm supposed to mention.
Oh God,
here we go.
This is going to be great.
He's gonna play this for you later. Bubbles Hair Salon. Were you just gagging on that water?
What is Bubbles Hair Salon?
It's one of the worst songs ever written.
Who wrote it?
I wrote it.
More than Donkey?
Donkey was a hit.
It was a hit.
It was by far the greatest song ever written, and that's not my fault. That's totally Sony Music's fault. Right, Tom?
Dropping the ball.
Sony Records. It's not
Sony Records.
Publishing's fault.
Sony Publishing was like all for it.
Yes,
I'm sure.
Yes.
No, Bubbles was terrible. There's those when you first move to town and you work at Applebee's and you start writing with guys and you write these songs and you think they're great songs and you're like these are the best songs ever written, and then you realize about a year into it, these songs are terrible.
Yeah.
However, you've already given these songs to the publisher that you're talking to,
and they bring them up 20 years later.
Bringing them up 20 years later.
I wonder if, honestly, I'd have to look to see. I'm sure it's still in there somewhere, but I'd have to dig in and see if I could find it.
I guarantee and I hope they never come back out again. It was awful.
It's a good time.
It was
sure.
good times. No, I enjoyed that place. I mean, you never knew who was going to come through. I mean, I met so many people, and you never knew when Guy Clark was going to be in the attic or not.
Oh, dude, can I tell you one Guy Clark story?
Yeah, absolutely.
To me, Guy Clark was the closest thing that I've ever met to John Wayne. I never met John Wayne, but this is how I imagine meeting him. When he came in the room, you kind of trembled a little bit. Yeah. It's like, oh my gosh, it's Guy Clark. We used to have our staff meetings in the afternoon upstairs in Gary's office, 2 o'clock, and every once in a while he would come in and open the door, and we would stop what we're doing. He would tell us something or whatever. One time he opened the door and he came in and small talk, and he said, all right, I got to go. Shut the door. Then he opens the door a second later and he goes, oh, yeah, forgot to tell you, I think I won a Grammy last night. All right, see you later. And shut the door. And he did. He did win a Grammy. That's how he told us. He didn't even care. Like, it was just like, oh, yeah, I picked up some bread from Kroger today. Like, that's how he said he won a Grammy.
No big deal. Just won a Grammy. The thing that everybody achieves for in the music industry.
Yeah, he was just a presence.
He was a special, one of a kind, break the mold. There'll never be another guy for sure.
We've talked about that a lot on here. We've just talked about the older guys. Like, I mean, we just Christopherson just passed.
Tragic loss.
Those characters. And I know we've got guys these days who are great songwriters, but I don't know if we'll have those mainstays, the guys that, I mean, you've got Ashley Gorley with, 70,000 number one hits. And I love Ashley. He's a great songwriter. But you have Guy Clark, you have Harlan Howard, you have Chris Christopherson. You've got just a plethora of those older guys that had that air about them.
Sure. Yeah.
And I don't know. Do you think we'll ever see something like that again?
I mean, it's one of those things where you kind of have to look back until you see it. I don't know if you see it when it's happening. One of my best memories over there was because of Bruce Birch, rest his soul, rest in peace. He called Dennis Lindy in to do a session out of the blue. And Dennis didn't talk to anybody, didn't do anything. And so Bruce included me on the 2 lunches and the day that he came in to record. So I got to go to lunch with him, and Bruce, was super cordial and was very, positive about me or whatever. And we're sitting at lunch, and a couple people come up to the table, and it's exactly what you heard all these years. Hey, Bruce, hey, Tom, whatever. Oh, Dennis Lindy. Nobody knew what he looked like for the most part, but when they heard his name, oh, I love your songs. And he would say, oh, that's a beautiful sweater you have. Where'd you buy that? He didn't ever want to talk about his songs. He changed the subject immediately.
Wow.
But in the studio, I did get to see him play his white Telecaster or whatever. And it was an amazing couple of days to be able to spend with him. So.
That's awesome.
Wow. Welcome to Twangtown. I am David Tolliver.
And I'm Colt Mirsky. And today we have with us Tom Luteran.
Hello.
Yeah. More.
We have.
Thank you. I want to thank the little people, which is everybody.
That's Deadpool Wolverine right there. It just goes on too long with the jokes. Dennis Lindy. Just a little more on him. You've heard stories about this guy. And he was just a prolific songwriter, but he made a town in his head, or he actually had a town in his basement. Because I like to think of him having a town in his basement, like a little train set,
like Beetlejuice.
Yes,
you're pretty close. He not only had a town. There was a map made of the town, and it had all the towns listed out, and the people, the characters, the locations of the songs, the stories were all. We had it when we moved from EMI to Sony. It was in the building, so it's somewhere over there. But there were only a handful of them, and Bruce Birch got a couple of them framed, and it was pretty incredible to see the water tower and just all the little vignettes from all of his amazing songs.
I guess when he killed Earl, he couldn't write for a little while or something. It's just the stories about him are legendary. Mm-hmm. But he never wrote with anybody. He wrote by himself, right?
Wrote by himself. He just was a unique cat. He did all the demos. He played all the parts. He sang everything. He used a drum machine. I think drums were the only thing he didn't play, but he played everything, sang everything. We still to this day listen to his demos because they're so unique and so different.
That's awesome.
God. I just wish I was that talented, man,
right?
Jeez. Where were you born? I know this, but I just want everybody else to know this.
I was born in the music city, a country music hotbed of Northwest New Jersey.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, baby.
So here, every time you say something, this is the way my mind works. So my whole life, I said, there are famous country singers from New Jersey. Eddie Rabbitt is from East Orange, New Jersey. And Clint Black is from New Jersey. And everyone goes,
I didn't know that.
Everyone goes, no way, man. He's from Texas. So we have recently signed Clint Black. And he was at our office for a 2-day writing camp. The second day, I saw him in the lobby, and I'm small talk. And I said, Clint, let me ask you a question, because I've been saying this for years. I hope it's true. Were you born in New Jersey? And he said, absolutely, at Red Bank Memorial Hospital. I lived there about 3 months and then moved outside of Houston, and I grew up there.
How about that?
Gotcha.
So technically,
boom. He's a Johnny Depp because Johnny Depp was born in Kentucky.
Yes,
and then moved like immediately. Dwight Yoakam, Yeah, okay.
Josh Van Valkenburg was born in Hollywood, Florida.
Nice.
He always says that.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I like it.
So how grew up there? You just grew up
in New Jersey.
Growing up there?
I grew up in New Jersey, just a normal rural life. I grew up across the street from a working dairy farm, which nobody believes when they think of New Jersey. They think of Newark. It's not the case.
Dude, I've been to New Jersey. I've been to like country, like redneck New Jersey. Mm-hmm. It's redneck. We played like the first living room. When we first signed to Universal, they had us go up and do a radio tour. And like the listeners want us to come and play a backyard party in New Jersey. And I'm like, oh, well, this is going to be in the city. No, sir. These were rednecks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I put New Jersey rednecks up against any state. Literally, if you go 20 miles outside of any town in America, it's loaded with rednecks.
Yeah, dude.
Casey Beathard has a song, "There's More of Us Than Them." There are more rednecks than there are non-rednecks in this world.
I heard New Jersey has the highest black bear population per capita in the state of New Jersey.
I literally, at this second, probably have 30 videos from my sister filming from her deck, bears and babies and mama bears, and her going, "Oh, look at their little babies," you know. Not that they could claw her throat at any time.
Anytime.
Well, they come to her yard a lot. And,
I don't know why you would know that fact.
I don't know.
Why?
That's
just like what
incredible
Tom
that
said.
you
You say something and I think of something else.
Yes.
You know?
Squirrel.
Y'all in your squirrels. So growing up across from a dairy farm.
So I grew up across the street from dairy farm. My whole kid life was typical kid sports, and
you played basketball, obviously.
Played basketball, baseball, football.
Tom's really short. If you don't know Tom,
Yeah.
And so I went through high school, and then I played a little basketball in college, and then I ended up graduating from Seton Hall. A couple of years working.
Oh, you're a pirate.
I'm a pirate.
I didn't know you were a pirate.
Yes, it was still the Phantom Foul on Ramil Robinson in '89 finals. I'm still mad about that. If you're a Michigan fan, don't ever talk to me again. So I worked a few years in financial sales, glorified insurance agent, and then I decided. So let me backpedal a little bit. We didn't have an FM country station until like the mid '80s, like '86 or '87.
Oh, wow.
So all the way back when a kid, my dad would play cassettes of like Roy Rogers and a lot of the Tumble Along with the Tumbling Tumbleweeds, which is torture on a 8-year-old kid.
Yeah.
So honestly, the two of the biggest watermarks in my life were when I first heard The Gambler. I was like, holy crow, music is cool. This is like the coolest song I ever heard on AM country radio in New Jersey. And then several years later, the class of '89. The class of '89 is what led me to Nashville. All those songs, all those artists that came out, from everybody from Brooks and Dunn to Alan Jackson to Mark Chestnut to Garth Brooks to all of them. A few years later, I won a trip. I worked at MetLife, and I won a trip to Opryland Hotel. And so we took a bus trip to Music Row. I have a video of me walking up and down Music Row with a VHS camera filming it. Yeah. Tracy Lawrence #1 song was on the Sony Tree, the Fire Hall. That's where they used to put the #1 banners. Anyway, that lit the fire, and I'm thinking, man, is there a way I could combine my sales skills, because I'm full of it and I can sell the.
Oh, you are.
I can sell. I'm so full of it. But
you shyster,
and my love of music, and so I just literally in June 6th of '94, I packed up everything, didn't know one person here, and moved.
Wow,
here.
Holy
that's
shit.
wild.
Yeah.
How old were you when you moved here?
26.
Yeah.
Did you? What was your first? What was your
6 years old now? No, I'm old.
Did you immediately jump head first in the music industry, or did you have the job, your first job?
Did you have a job lined up, or how'd you get in?
So I worked a couple of small jobs for a while, and I actually got like a sales job where I worked like 4 hours a day, and I spent the whole middle of the day at the pool. It was great, but I'm no closer to getting into this business, so I literally quit. And at the time, there were 2 temp agencies on Music Row that would put you in music jobs because, as you know, even to this day, I think a third or even some labels, half of the people are temps. They're not full time. And so I told the temp agency, if it's taking out the trash or shoveling the snow or whatever it is, I'll do any job. And so they called me up and said there's a 2-day job in the finance.
You can just plug it back in.
Yeah,
you're good.
It's fine. We'll take
so,
sorry,
so I'm sure you really sold him over when you said, I'll shovel the snow, like, because we get all the snow in here that needs shoveling. You know?
I can shovel that 1/8 of an inch.
We have a snowplow here. We have one.
It's just a broom.
Did you know we have, there's more snowplows at O'Hare than there are in Nashville?
I believe it.
Yeah, no
the
doubt.
airport. Anyway.
Okay,
Squirrel.
So sorry for knocking my headphones out. So I had a 2-day job, and as the fickle finger of fate, the person that ran the finance department was named Paul Barnaby. He had just moved from the New York Sony office. It was called RCA at the time, but RCA to Nashville within a month or two. I walk in, and he hears my accent, and I go, where are you from? He goes, where are you from? And I told him. He's like, oh! And Dice Clay was big. We started doing so a 2-day temp job in the middle of April of whatever, that would have been 95. I worked all the way through for the Tuesday of Labor Day. I started my first publishing job. I found a publisher that needed a job while I was a temp at RCA in the finance department, and it was awesome because Joe Galante let the temps go to the #1 parties, the gold album parties. And back then, the streets were paved with gold, and we had like a Laurie White gold record party, Alabama release party. Like in the few months I was there, it was amazing. Got to see and meet and the people who come through the label, John Anderson, Lori Morgan, Lone Star guys had just gotten signed, whatever.
It was a heyday.
It was, it was a heyday. It was. I didn't realize at the time how lucky I was, but so in that time, I met a guy who knew a small publisher, and I met with him, and he gave me a box of DATs. A DAT player and a pair of headphones.
DATs.
Yeah, there was about 150 songs. He said, "Go home, listen to these, and then we'll get back together and talk about them." And I listened to every song at least 3 times. I mean, I just morning, noon, and night just listened, made notes, like not knowing that I was complete overkill. So I went back and met with him. He asked me questions, and he's like, "How in the world do you know the bridge on the 144th song on these DATs or whatever?"
Yeah.
So he hired me.
How did you play DATs at your house?
Well, he gave me a DAT player and just headphones. I just plugged direct and listened on a DAT player he gave me.
Wow.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah. And so this was called Music Genesis. His name was Vern Dan. He had a couple number ones as a songwriter. And the person I was taking their job was Bart Butler. Bart Butler had left to go to Zomba Music Publishing.
Oh, wow.
So this is the first day of Labor Day of 94. Then, so the next October of 95, I get a call. Bart says, "Hey man, Jody Williams and Stephanie Cox are hiring me at Universal. They're looking for somebody at Zomba. I told Mike Hollingsworth about you. You need to call him for an interview." And I did. And luckily enough, I was able to get that job. So I only worked for a year, 13 months there. Then, so I went on to Zomba for 5.5 years. It was an amazing place at the time. Got to meet Britney Spears before her record came out. She had to sit with a lady because she was underage at the time, so she always had to have a handler or whatever.
That worked out well for him.
Yeah, honestly, just seeing her in like a real modest white shirt and shorts and everything, and then I saw that video for "Oops, I Did It Again." I was like, "That's the girl that sat on the couch." Yeah. What in the world?
What?
Hey, wait a minute here. Anyway, so had some fun times. The writers got to write on the Backstreet Boys records and all that stuff at the time, and there was that one funny story is there was this writer, I'm not going to say his name, who bragged multiple times that he knew Justin Timberlake. He's like, "I know Justin Timberlake." We're like, "Yeah, sure, so do I." Whatever. At the time, Justin was dating Britney. Biggest. This would have probably been 99, 2000.
This was the circa the denim.
Yeah,
the denim outfits.
The denim outfits.
Yes.
MTV Music Awards. Come on, Daddy Bear.
Yes.
They were the biggest stars in the world.
Yep.
And so Britney came to write one Friday and Saturday. And Friday she wrote with Jason Blum, and Saturday she was writing with George Taryn. So Monday I came in and I said, "Hey, George, how'd it go?" And he said, "Oh, it went great. We went to Starbucks. She put a ball cap on. She's the biggest star in the world, and not one person even knew it was her."
Wow.
And I said, "Well, what happened?" He said, "Well, we're finishing up, and so we're standing on the outside of the Zomba office, and in comes a convertible, and it's Justin Timberlake, and in the passenger seat was that writer that said they knew Justin Timberlake.
Holy crap.
They had hung out all day. He really did know the guy."
Nice.
And you can't say who this is? Who was it?
It's nothing condemning.
I honestly can't remember his name right now. He ended up getting a Christmas cut on one of the NSYNC records. I could look it up, but I can't remember right now.
You're like,
Kenny?
I'm going to protect his identity, but really I just can't remember the guy's name.
Good dude, but so anyway, I worked there for 5.5 years. It was great. Everything was great. And then like January of 2002, the same week, I get a call from Mike Whalen and a call from Glenn Middleworth. They both want to have lunch. I've never met, I've seen him around, but I never really talked to either of them. If you know Mike Whalen, he was a big jacked up dude at the time, kind of intimidating at the parties. You didn't really walk up.
He was the opposite.
He was kind of like
Middleworth.
But he's kind of like Colt size, a big dude. Yeah. And so I got a call from both of them, went to lunch, and then the same week they both offered me jobs. So I had to make a decision whether to go to Acuff Rose or to go to EMI.
Oh.
And
both great companies.
At the time, Acuff Rose was rocking, man. They had Writer of the Year 4 of like the last 8 years or some crazy between Skip Ewing and Dean Dillon, all that stuff. And I met with Troy and Troy Tomlinson. He promised that they were just did a 5-year plan for the boss. They're going to be there. So I'm like, all right, let me go to Acuff Rose. So I had to call Gary Overton and tell him I wasn't coming to EMI, which he ran me up one side and down the other.
Of course he did.
And then 3 months after I started Acuff Rose, Troy called us all in and said, Acuff Rose is sold to Sony.
Oh, no.
So
so much for that 5-year
I'm
plan.
engaged to be married. We're looking at houses, and I'm about to lose my job. It was fantastic.
Did you call Gary immediately?
So I called Gary this in the summer of that year, whenever it was. I called him the end of July, let's say. And so I called him on a Monday, nothing. Tuesday, nothing. Wednesday morning at about 11, I'm at my house, like going, what am I going to do? And I look at my phone, I pick it up. Hello, hey, Gary, here, come on and see me today. Can you come in at 2? I go, yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah.
And he told me when I got there, he goes, all right, let's do this paperwork. And he said, I would have let you hang longer, but there was an opening at Famous Music, and I thought you might be stupid enough to take that job. So luckily, that was August 10th of 2002, and I've been there ever since, 21
That's
years.
so
amazing.
weird because I signed my first deal was there in 2002.
Yeah.
So we signed right at the same time.
Ben Vaughn started in April of 02, and I started in August of 02.
So I had no idea. I mean, you'd fit right in because I thought you'd been there for years. It was so weird.
There's that salesman.
It was amazing. I had no idea that you were the same year that I was.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I think I was there till 2009. And then.
Good times.
Yeah.
And then you were at EMI for how long? And then Sony bought you guys, which is so ironic.
So
here's
full circle.
I know. Here's the crazy part. So we were first purchased by a fund manager and all that weird stuff. We were owned by a fund in the Middle East, and it was kind of crazy and all these rumors about us. And the guy that owned it, somehow he got over his head with these bonds or whatever he paid. And there was a bidding for it, and Sony won the bidding. And 99% of times in the world, in any business, if you're business number 9, you buy business number 12 to try to become number 6.
Yeah.
Or you're number 10 and you buy 11 to try to become 5. Well, we were number 1 and Sony was 2. So it's like the Yankees and Red Sox coming together. It was a real unique, it was a super unique thing, and a little sticky at first with some of the, walking through a minefield. Imagine you're a writer there, and we had 55 writers and they had 95 writers. So you're talking about 150 writers or whatever in overnight. So it was a big
Headache.
It was just a big it was just a big transition. It was a big change for a lot of people.
There was a bunch of WANs. There was a bunch of WAN riders, I guarantee. That's where we are. Mm-hmm. What about me? Why not me right now?
Right?
WAN.
Poor David.
I don't do that anymore.
At all.
You don't do it any less.
I am so
that deserves a... Is it this one? There it is.
Oh, God.
Rusty.
Bucket of fish.
It's been a minute.
No, I've grown up in my time here in Nashville, in my 20-something plus years, in this ridiculously wonderful town. Yeah.
Absolutely.
How is Sony these days?
Sony. So to backtrack, I have been incredibly lucky to work. I've had amazing bosses. I had Gary Overton. I had Ben Vaughn, Troy Tomlinson, and now Rusty, who is off the chart. You all know him.
Rusty Gaston.
Love that
Rusty
guy.
Gaston. So I have been a super, super lucky person to be able to work with mentors and coworkers and things like that. But some of the best bosses that have ever been through here in the publishing side, for sure. So that's been a super positive.
Yeah, that's cool.
To be able to learn
a lot of great
from those
people.
Those are some really, really good dudes, and that you don't get that a whole lot in this industry.
No.
So who's the best?
Oh wow!
I loved 3 of the 4 of them.
Yeah, I remember Rusty.
That's what I always do with writers. Man, I love 3 of the 4 of your songs.
Yeah.
I remember Rusty when he was at Songgarden. It was Byron Gallamore's publishing company, and he was in his room in his big desk, and he was such a nice guy, such a great guy. Always never been any different to me or anybody else. I don't think ever in this town. And
being around him all the time now, all the time when we meet with people, I'm not making this up. People will say, Rusty was either my first, second, or third meeting in town. He was so encouraging. He never says a negative word about people.
Yeah.
He never you never find anybody, and I'm glad to say same with me. You'll never find one writer artist in this town. They'll say, you're never going to make a kid go home. How a lot of people have that story.
Oh yeah.
I've never said it. Not that I didn't believe it on some of them, but you never know what's in someone's heart. You never know what's in their path. You never know what the fickle finger of fate, just like for me, could happen to them.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I never tell anyone the only way you can't win in this business is to quit and go home. Then you will definitely lose.
That's some great words that I never thought would come out of your body.
I mean, I've met with some disasters. Trust me, after they leave, we're like, "What the heck was that? This is ridiculous."
I've known some of those disasters.
Exactly. You've been in a room writing with them.
Yeah.
But But I have never said those words. And You'll never find one person because I've never said it.
You've seen a lot of artists. I mean, you talk about being in the class. You moved here around the class of '89, or thereafter. That's what got you to town. Mm-hmm. Who's some of your favorite artists that you've worked with? And you don't have to. I mean, it have to be your favorite artist of all time. But you've seen a lot of careers progress. Who are you most like? Oh my God! They should have been there, and here they are. They're there when you first met them.
My answer to that every single time since the summer of '04 has been the same. And I have a lot of others that are very close, but no one will ever top Jamey Johnson. To me, the writing, the singing.
I knew you were going to say that.
He just signed a new deal at Warner. Let's go.
He is putting out new music, and it's going to be incredible. And just everything the guy does, he was one of those perfect guys where it's like, oh my God, what did Jamey... It worked? Wait, what? Like you would think he would do the opposite of what people would think and what he was supposed to do, which everybody does now. He was way ahead of the curve.
Ahead of the curve.
And just... He's the first person that I always mention when people ask me that, and it's always going to be him. And I've luckily worked with a ton of great people, a lot of great artists, and I got to be on the behind the scenes working with them. But hands down, it's Jamey.
Were you at the NSA Awards last week?
Yes,
dude. He killed it. I forget what song he sings now off the top of my head.
He sang "Give It Away" for Buddy Cannon's induction.
Yeah, dude. And he did it like a really cool, like different version, like a more stylistic version of it. Mm-hmm. He's just so good. He still sounds so good.
And I've known Jamey.
He hasn't lost a step.
I've known Jamey since he signed at EMI back in the day. We were pretty close to the same time, and we've all gone through our share of things. Mm-hmm. And I was out with him out at Lee's the other day at the dove hunt, and it was me and Lee and Jared Neiman and Jamey just hanging out in the studio talking. And Jamey basically gave me a pep talk.
Did he
Which
really?
was the weirdest. Yeah. We were talking about music industry, and I was like, yeah, man, I've been writing at Curb, and it's co-venture with Lee, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, dude, you need to keep doing that. He said, you were one of the good ones. He said, you still are.
That's
incredible. He's like, Halfway to Hazard was great. I loved you guys. He said, you should have had. I'm like, what's going on right now?
Right.
It's a complete pep talk from Jamey Johnson.
Yeah.
But dude, he's one of those people that is a complete artist.
You ready for another? You said something to remind me of something.
Oh, I'd love it.
I can put my foot in my mouth.
Speaking of Jamey,
that's a song that he wrote with Jamey that we all loved. And still
Neil
to this
McCoy
day,
cut it.
Neil McCoy ended up cutting that song. It's an amazing, fun song that you should look up on there.
Yeah, Jamey and I had been out.
It's called Mouth.
We'd been out to a bar in Gallatin somewhere for some reason. And we sit, we had some times. But we sit down at this bar, and the bartender comes over and she takes her order, and he goes, "Hey, when you do?" And she said, "What?" He goes, "When you do?" She goes, "I'm not pregnant." He goes, "Oh, you fucking with me." And wouldn't let it go. She was not pregnant. She was just
painful.
a bit portly.
Oh,
so we were supposed to write the next morning, and that's where that song came from.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, that's for everybody listening out there, don't ask a woman, unless it's painfully obvious.
No, sir.
I do the opposite. When someone is incredibly pregnant, like about to bust at the seams, I'll say, it's never polite to ask when you're not sure. Meanwhile, they're bending backwards because of this.
Giant belly.
Disaster. That's a disaster.
Bless her heart.
Every way around.
So on the other side of that coin, because I was thinking of this right before David asked it, let's exclude the artists. I know you've got to work with some amazing songwriters from all your days from then till now. Is there anybody in that category who you're like, man, this person is such a prolific songwriter. It was amazing to get to work with them and be a part of their journey?
Again, I'm one name comes to mind, but I've had a lot of them. I mean, I've been lucky enough to be around a lot. But the guy that I worked with for a lot of years, and not only was super talented, had a million hits, who is the number 5 most decorated writer in BMI history. Number 1's Bill Anderson. It's like Tom Shapiro, Merle Haggard, somebody, and Red Akins is number 5.
Really?
And he's still climbing because he just had another number 1 on Thomas Rhett, and he's about to have some other stuff. So he's still, to this day, putting out hits. But just the whole, because he was such a great hang. He is such a great hang. He'll come by the office, and everybody comes in my office because he's telling funny stories. He can do the voices. He does it all. Like
he's a happy person too.
Always in a good mood.
Yeah, man.
He has. He told me a few years ago he completely cut off social media, and he's been way happier. Which I think we all we all can take a lesson from that. Because
I got to do something when I use bathroom.
Yeah,
if a man's got to poo, he's got to look at Instagram or TikTok or something. It's a necessary evil for some of us still.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, my feet have fallen asleep before. So.
You too.
Yeah.
It's always the memes that pop up that it's like your butthole staring at the water. It's like, come on,
it's like a peach seed. That's the one you're talking about. So I've started out as a meme apprentice, but I've worked my way up.
Yeah, let's talk about your pure passion of memes. If you don't know Tom, he's like one of the best memers out there,
and I'm proud of it. So for every one meme you look at, I look at 30.
Yeah,
because I enjoy it. Like you might look at guitars, or you might look at Texas football highlights.
Definitely,
I look at memes. I probably follow 300 or 350 meme accounts, and so
really?
I see. Oh yeah, easily.
Yeah.
And so I see them all, and I'm very picky on which ones I'll repost. In my mind, if they don't make me laugh immediately, then I just scan on, and I get dozens and dozens of them sent to me every month by people, which is great. But I've seen them all already.
Yeah.
But and I never have the heart to tell people that. I'm always like, yeah, that's funny.
You
Great.
do the
Thanks.
smiley
That's funny.
face.
I did that one
Right.
time about the Dallas Cowboys because for everybody who doesn't know, this guy from New Jersey is the world's largest Dallas Cowboys fan.
Yes,
but
painful.
Some meme was hating on the Dallas Cowboys, and it was funny. And I sent it to him. I was like, "Yeah, I already saw it, but it's not that funny."
Was it the one about the white powdery substance?
I don't know.
No, it's the one
4 or 5 years ago.
It's the one that has like 4 or 5 old people looking at a radio, and it says depiction or a picture of the last time the Cowboys won the Super Bowl. It's like a picture from the 40s or something. That's usually the one people send me.
Yeah.
No, the one I saw was the white powdery substance. It ended up being they'd never seen it before. It ended up being in the end zone.
Yes, yes. There's all those jokes.
Yes. No, Jen and I send them back and forth. We'll be sitting on the couch, sending them back and forth to each other.
Oh, for sure.
Yep.
And one of my favorites is the dog with the hat.
What's that one?
It's when somebody you have a nice hat and someone tells you look nice and it makes you feel nice, and that's it. And it's this dog looking at you. I don't know why, but it's one of my favorites of all time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Maybe you can share it publicly on your Instagram.
I think I will share it publicly. I have before.
So
I'll
the
send
world
it
must
to
not be
Tom.
as funny as it used to be because it used to be a rabid meme share, and I feel like your meme sharing game is decreased.
Well, yes, I feel like this thing they call work gets in the way once in a while of me doing my memes. So I gotta do that, and then having children and
Maybe you should just be a meme-fluencer. Is it a meme-fluencer?
I have a note in my phone right now that's got original what I call dad memes that I've come up with that maybe someday I'll work on. I'll show you guys later, but I did do kind of a parody of. I thought Music City Memes was fantastic.
Yes,
because the inside jokes was great.
Sure.
Yep.
So I did a temporary one called Memes of Music City.
Oh, nice.
A little play on words. You can look it up. It's a public account, and there's probably 20 on there. And I could, and I did those in a matter of one weekend. If I had time, I did get 2 cuts on Music City. The real one, whatever the real one's called.
Such a publisher got 2 cuts on
Yes.
the
City memes.
Yes. So I would say, this is when my friend Lauren
right now.
was still working at Big Yellow Dog, and one of the persons that were behind the scenes, and I'd send it to her, and she would forward it on, and I sent probably 10, and I got 2 cuts, and I was super happy.
Congratulations.
That was awesome.
Do we know who did Music City memes?
I'll tell you after this is all.
I think
Your memes of Music City?
Yeah, it's the reverse of whatever.
Following it.
the one
Yeah.
Music City.
You're about to
is-
What's the one Gilda did? Wasn't that Music City memes?
I didn't know. Everybody said his name associated with it. Yeah.
He likes to tell people he did it.
Sure.
And then he just gave up on it because it got too big for him, he said.
Yeah.
If you look back at the first week or two, I got 2 in there, but my funny one was, and you'll think it's funnier than you will. It's a guy.
You're an idiot. That's why.
It's a guy working. No, you'll know what I want to say. It's a guy walking by a garbage can, and he has his hand out, and you can see a piece of paper falling into a trash can. And I wrote, "When you hand in a ballad to your publisher."
It's the truth.
And it pains songwriters because you beg and you plead. You do cajole, you do everything. Please write tempo. I promise I will. And they don't write tempo.
And then it's another fucking ballad.
Yes. It's not new. We're not pointing the finger at you. You are one of thousands.
I try my best not to write ballads. I'm a mid-tempo positive.
Try harder.
You try harder. It's ridiculous. I don't remember the last time I wrote a ballad.
Last week.
What?
I
didn't write a song last week.
Oh, dude, he got you.
Yeah.
It used to be. We've said it since Moses wore short pants. But the problem is now when you see kids in line at the store, they can't. Not only can they not even pay attention to 2 minutes they're in line, they're looking at their phone. No one pays attention. It's really hard. Like it's even harder than it's ever been.
I see so many people driving, literally, just looking at their phone
on 65,
like,
going 75 miles an hour. I see that every morning.
Let me tell you how much I like to curb stomp them people.
Yeah,
I cannot stand those people.
Mm-hmm.
And
super dangerous.
Yeah,
so many I can't imagine how many more rear ends there are. I can't imagine. So I moved out of the Northeast in 94. I can't imagine how many people walk into each other when they're looking at their phones because the streets are so busy.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like, it must happen all the time.
Dude, when I'm in an airport now, because we just fly a lot, we travel quite a bit. But I've instead of going, making a scene about it, I'll just start going when people are walking toward me, and they'll look up and they'll swerve.
You're like, oh my gosh, I almost got attacked by a giant turkey.
Well, we were in Salt Lake City. It was me and Jenna. We were going out to ski, and it was around the same time as Sundance Music Festival or Sundance Film Festival. So I'm walking through the airport, and there's this woman walking at me, looking at her phone, and I do my no change.
No.
So I do it louder. And I'm getting close. And finally, I swerve, and I realize who it is. It's Marlene Matlin.
Oh, my gosh.
Who's that?
She is, her hearing has had a hearing situation.
The deaf actress who's won Academy Awards.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
If I saw what she looked like, I know who it was.
You would know her if you saw Children of a Lesser God was her big, huge breakthrough role. Yeah, she's been on the roasts. Like I think she was on one of the big Trump roasts or something like that. Okay. But yeah, so I'm just Marlene Matlin. She has no. Everybody else is looking at me like I'm nuts.
Like he is so rude to that poor deaf woman.
But it is, I just people just don't pay attention. I could sit and talk about traffic all day long because it is my least favorite thing in this town, Tom. I don't like to go down Music Row anymore. I don't like to go on 65. I don't like to go anywhere, especially between the hours of 8 and 10.
What about
Demonbreun? Or 2:30, and Demonbreun is terrible.
Well, now they put that extra thing, that extra lane.
What is that?
Forget it.
What is that?
Oh, it's for all the
tourists. It's a tourist lane. I think. I'm assuming that whole block's getting torn down. They're going to tour
curbs.
that as the leases expire. Those buildings are going, and so I don't know why they decided to do that now of all times. But,
They've basically got it down to one lane each way now, and I don't even come that way to work anymore. I'm just done with it.
I don't leave that way unless I leave before 2:00. I won't even leave that way because you won't even get through the roundabout.
No, that's what we were just talking about.
You live south of town, right?
I live
How
south
do you go?
of town.
You go down Wedgwood?
Well, when I leave at night, I go 17th and I cut through by Big Loud and I go 8th and then Wedgwood and then on. In the morning, I come up Franklin Road.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll just go. I live in Brentwood, so I'll just go straight down Granny White or straight down Belmont and get over to Tyne Boulevard and go over that way. I would rather take another 10 minutes getting home than deal with these morons on these roads.
The day they had that Luke Bryan party west of town, I did the same thing because it was like 5:00, and if you try to get on 65 from 440 there, it's like a fist fight. People cut in front constantly.
Yeah.
So I just decided to cut across and take back roads and go through whatever towns, and all of a sudden I'm at Granny White and through.
Yeah.
It was great.
It's just so much more relaxing. I put on my classical music and just run with it.
Got to get that classical music.
What's going on over at Sony right now you're excited about?
Me personally, I've got a few new people I'm working with that I think are going to be great. They are great. The world just doesn't know it yet.
No.
I've got my guy who Monday or Tuesday night at the NSAI Awards last week killed it, Patrick Murphy.
Such a good dude.
Such a great
Patrick.
dude. He did so great. We got calls. We got all big-time producer texted Stephanie Wright about him, like just out of the blue. Like
nice.
He's been hiding in plain sight, but when he did that performance,
he killed it.
He killed it, and we've heard some not so great performances lately all around the world, and his stood out like in a positive way.
Yeah.
He's so good. I've been telling people forever, like, look, Patrick Murphy is good. Get on the Patrick Murphy train.
We peed at the Jack Daniels together. I think there's pictures floating around.
Did you talk to each other?
Yeah,
Yeah, we brought Patrick to a song camp at Jack Daniels.
Yeah.
Was that last fall?
It was last fall.
Yeah, it was good times.
We had really good times out there.
How can you not? Jack Daniels songs. How can it not be great?
Yeah, it was good times.
But a few other newer artists that I'm working with. I've got Shaylin, who is on Big Machine, or it's now called Harbor Freight.
Harbor Freight.
No, not Harbor Freight.
What is it called?
It's called
Harbor Freight.
No,
Harbor Freight Records.
It has a new name, but anyway, she is just about to release her first single, which will be great. She's doing great. I've got a new male artist named Gavin Adcock who is just incredible. He kind of has a little bit of your spirit inside of him.
Yeah, he looks like a really rowdy guy.
I can talk to him if you need to.
He is. No, man, don't talk to him. You'll have a beer with him because you'll love the guy.
I can tell him what not to do.
Well, he's amazing.
Ask me how I know.
His fans love him and they love the Outlaw, and he looks like a young Waylon, and he is all in it to win it, and they love him, man.
Dude, that's great.
His shows are so much fun. The crowds go literally crazy. I mean, it's really fun. And a couple of newer people, like I have a new female artist named Sadie Bass who is just starting to work her way through.
Mm-hmm.
Who else here? Let's see. I should have had notes here because that would have helped, because I'm going to forget somebody. And
I forget everybody all the time, especially David.
Yeah.
So like,
don't forget
this brings up a great question. So you've been doing publishing for a long time. You meet with a lot of writers, obviously. So from your perspective, what is it you're looking for in a prospective songwriter, or maybe even someone who's established and looking for a new home? What is it you're looking for to bring someone onto the roster and you're like, yeah, I want to get behind this person and champion them?
It's a great question. And I'm going to steal Rusty's quote because he came up with this last year, and he said, the music business has changed more in the last 3 years than it has in the previous 30. And he couldn't be more right.
I agree.
It is turned up on its ear right now. And so we have been moving toward changing our way of thought. You can't think like 2012. You'll be left behind. And so a lot of the people that I'm looking at or am working with are part of this new wave because, you got to stay current. So in terms of writers and artists, we don't need people always say, man, I love 90s country. Everybody loves 90s country. And there's no doubt we all do.
Yeah.
Radio still throws it back. If you look at these ones, it still works. It doesn't work that great. And it doesn't work to the effect. Like if you look at somebody like Bailey Zimmerman, that dude is like, he is molten lava. Everything he does is amazing. The dude's amazing. If you try to put, something that's not quite as, it's sounding like his kind of stuff, or I'm using him just as an artist A or whatever it is.
Sure.
So when I'm looking at writers and artists, they need to be in that lane. They need to be able to do what is current. They need to be able to compete with what's going on right now. We meet with people that have record deals after having one song blow up on TikTok. I know that'll hurt your heart, David, but
no, it's just the new way. World.
Yeah.
It's the state of the world, and a lot of the older guys don't want to hear it because they feel like they haven't paid their dues. Blah 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 blah. It's just the change of the world. I mean, you look at it. You talk about the class of '89. A lot of those guys were looked upon as being not.
Randy Travis is ruining music. That countrypolitan music, Ronnie Millsap with that B3 sound. He's ruining music.
Everybody's angry at everybody the generation before or after for something.
Yeah, Shania Twain is too pop. It's like what?
Yeah, it's like Travis Tritt was mad at Billy Ray Cyrus for being successful.
I remember Ben Vaughn and I got into Dallas Davidson truck one time, and he said, "Man, I got this new Luke Bryan song," and he played it, and we were like, our eyes were open. We're like, oh my God, we got out of the car. We looked at it and it goes, this is so crazy, man. This is incredible, but it's so far out there. Is it going to be like something that can work or whatever? Guess what song it was?
Shake It For Me.
Country girl, shake
I
it
knew it.
for me. It was so different, and now
So different.
You know, but
Shake it for the catfish.
Yep.
I remember getting so mad. I was in Colt's office when I heard that line. He played it for me. I was so mad at that line. I'm like, this is driving me nuts because I know both them boys very well, and I'm like, they have done something really stupid cool.
Yeah.
And it's so odd.
It's part of this,
but it worked.
Part of this job that Colt and I have is that you can remember when you heard certain songs at certain times, like the ones that are real tent poles or whatever, like ones that you remember. And as you say stuff, it reminds me of stuff. I can't remember what I had for lunch today, but I can remember when you say something and when you mention like anything, you know, does it, whatever, but you get to hear these songs in work tape form, whatever. Like Rhett never, like 5 times in the 9 or 10 years we worked together, he would say, man, I really have one. He would just turn it in and move on. And he turned in great ones. He turned in 3-4 week #1 songs, never said a word. But he did one time. He came back from a farm tour run, and he said, man, I think we got one this weekend. And he played me the work tape. And Rusty had told Ben Hayslip a couple of months before, man, all the urban and pop songs are having this thing about, you know, stick your hands in the air like you just don't care. So on the road, they're writing a song, and Ben comes up with the magic money line. You got your hands up, you're rocking in my truck. And they wrote, and I still have I keep a lot of the work tapes on this little thing I have, and I just to hear it.
Your DAT machine.
My DAT machine.
Yeah.
My reel-to-reel. But anyway.
I can't imagine just you guys, what you hear every day. I know you have to wade through my shit, and both of you have done so. But
Yes.
just to hear, there has to be songs that come through your desk, and you're like, this is an amazing song, but it's never going to do anything.
Yeah.
There has to be a bunch of those.
For sure.
I heard one this morning that I can't even say. I'm afraid if I say the title, I might lose it, but it was.
I'll rewrite that sumbitch.
It got me because other than my kids, music, sports, and memes, my favorite thing in the world is dogs.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And we got one this morning called "Fetch Your Wings."
Oh man.
Yeah.
Just killed you, huh?
Yeah.
He's trying not to cry right now.
Yeah, it's a heartstring tugger, and it's really well written. It's another new. There we go. Squirrel. Ryan Falsey wrote it, and Ryan and Rory are a new duo on BMG, and they're the Highway Fine now, and they're doing great. And he's about to put another EP out, and so they're writing songs, and they wrote this song and turned it in today, and incredible song. He wrote it with JT Harding and Brett James, and it's really
good Lord. Okay.
But we get to hear a lot of songs like the ones that are, you know, super serious, and a lot of times they're almost too serious for people to, you know, Colt and I, any plugger A, plugger B, we talk about this all the time. Like, artists need to take the role of the song and not worry that, like, we have such a hard time singing something that didn't live.
Yeah.
When meanwhile, we knew Reba wasn't a 13-year-old hooker. We all knew that, but she took the role on, and it worked.
Massive song.
Right. So we always want that.
You're telling a story.
And the people that jump in and take these roles, sometimes it becomes the biggest. Kenny Rogers, of course, the king. But some of the newer people that'll take these roles on, and you believe it. Like, you believe, like when, like, you know, kind of like we went through our stage here where, you know, signing the best looking singers and the best looking female artists or male artists or bands, and Hollywood did the same thing. And so movies stink. The person, just because they're great looking, they don't act. When you watch Russell Crowe, he's Gladiator, and you believe it. Then he's Jersey Joe Walcott with a New Jersey accent, and you believe it. That dude's amazing. Yeah. Everything he plays, it's beautiful. Minder, all these movies, he's different. And then you see other guys, and they're the same person, or men or women, whatever. They're the same person in every movie.
Yeah,
they're just great looking.
Yeah,
it's terrible. The movies suck. They're not good at all.
Yeah,
like that. You know that. Yeah. So anyway, we have to be mindful of that when the people we work with in this business, just, you know, and although now it's flip-flop back where, you know, it's now the best, you know,
I enjoy where it's at now.
It's a good mix.
I think, I hate to say this, but I think Adele really changed some things because she wasn't your typical, you know, your typical pop star.
Sure.
She was bigger, she sang her absolute ass off, and everybody was like, "We don't care anymore."
Well, even in this format, you had guys like Stapleton and Luke Combs kind of break that mold because
Jelly Roll.
I mean, I remember someone telling me before Luke signed his first record deal, Hurricane was blowing up on Spotify. Like, oh, he's never going to make it. He's too fat.
Yeah,
but he's got that powerhouse voice and amazing songs, and what he did and what Stapleton did. I mean, those are just guys who are true artists, and luckily they broke the mold because that opened up the gates for a lot of other folks who are doing similar things. And I think what we're seeing right now, the mix of just everybody from the really good looking people to the not so good looking people, but still they all have amazing songs. Yeah. That's what we're here for, the amazing songs.
Yeah. Young, old. Yeah. Let's bring them all. Let's go.
I went to a whiskey jam and it was cold out because I had a coat on. I can't remember if it was the winter of 15 or the beginning of 16. And I was there to see somebody else, and you know how sometimes you don't look at who's on there. You just there. Oh, my artist is going on at 9:20, which means 10:15.
Yeah, exactly.
But the night I was there, Luke Combs came on, and I knew him because he had been writing with James McNair, who I have a great songwriter story about James McNair. And he does his songs, and all I know is he did Hurricane Laugh, and I had heard it on XM a little bit.
Yeah.
Deafening. I mean, one of those moments inside of the Losers over there, and it's like screaming it, packed with Vanderbilt kids or whoever's there, and you knew something was different. So every year we have a Christmas party, and it's held at the country club in West Nashville. I can't draw the blank on this. Belmead Country Club, and
there you go.
So there was a time where I can't remember how I met him, but James McNair came by a time or two to meet with me, and he was writing some pretty good stuff. And I just said, man, I had signed 2 or 3 people at the time. If you can find a partner, let's do this thing. And so he brought me Dane Schmidt, and who ended up working with me eventually. With great dude. And so we had our Christmas party, and like a week before, James came in and small talk, and he said, hey, man, I just want to let you know that the last 3 years I've taken your wife's coat at the Christmas party. I go, what? He goes, yeah, I've been the coat guy at the Sony Christmas parties.
Really?
Wow.
And you know how you don't think of that when you're going in. You just like whatever.
Sure.
And isn't that an incredible story? And now he's gone on to have 6 or 7 number ones.
That's
and
amazing.
He's an incredibly successful songwriter. But he was the coat guy.
You never know who is going to be that person.
That's why you'll never find a person in this town. Like I said before, that I said it because James' drive and will to win is second to none. Like he has that thing where he, one of the main things is if you have a plan B. If you got a plan B, forget it. I probably, or if you come from a super wealthy family, sometimes as a red flag. It doesn't always mean that, but if you have a plan B, it most times means, the minute going gets tough, you'll hit the road or whatever. So.
That's true.
Yeah, I have never had a plan B.
You're still working on plan A.
And here I am. I'm plan A. I plan AA and plan A and plan A. AAA. I like AAA batteries. Yeah.
Yeah.
What else you got, Coldest?
Unless Tom's got any more squirrel moments.
I don't think he does. Yeah. Hey, have you ever in your life spun a wheel of shame?
No, I have not.
You're about to, though, Daddy Bear.
This is audio only, right? There's not video, right?
There's no video.
Just a few secret cameras, but, it just depends on the guest.
God.
It's fine.
I'm kidding.
You're fine. Go ahead and
give her a spin,
Go ahead and put that big finger up there, son.
Just for the fans listening along at home, there's a wheel, a kind of a Special Olympics wheel in front of me. I'm not sure what it's for. It's kind of trying to read the writing.
Wow.
I can't talk because I write like a caveman, so I have no room to talk. All right, here we go.
Oh, that's a nice dainty spin.
Yeah.
I always wondered on Wheel of Fortune if I would spin it so hard I'd break it.
Right?
I've always wanted to spin that wheel.
What'd you land on?
Jasper Newton.
Do you like whiskey?
Wow.
I like Fireball whiskey. I can't. I'm not really a straight whiskey.
Spin it again, then.
I like Fireball. That's where you went.
My kid,
Troy
even my kids make fun of me
because I like coming out.
I like Sunny D's and I like Fireball whiskey. I'm not a very manly drinker.
Wow.
Dragon's Breath.
Oh yeah. You like hot stuff?
Can you do hot stuff?
I eat like a 12-year-old.
Oh God, spin it again.
Food and here's a great thing. So if you don't care about food, like I swear it's been able to help me keep weight off for a long time. I had a weight loss good thing back 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
and I don't care about food. Like I never think about. You'll never hear me say, "Oh, you got to try this restaurant." Those words have never come out of my mouth because I don't care. Like I don't really care about.
This
food.
is hot sauce.
I don't like hot. I don't like anything with flavor. Like I don't like.
He definitely couldn't do this. Yeah.
No.
Spin it again.
All right. Is there something on?
This might be the first time we've had a triple spinner.
I know it. I'm sorry for
this.
This
is ridiculous.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. Just pick one that you think I'll do because no one knows what
I know
it's
the one I
landing
want you to
on.
do.
Oh, the chubby bunny.
I see the tortilla slap, and I've always wanted to try that because it looks fun.
Oh, where'd you land?
Tortilla slap.
Yes! Okay. Perfect.
This seems like it's fun. I mean, I'm sure Colt has an umbrella plan in case he dislocates my jaw and I have to sue him. I'd hate to do that, but if I had to,
you may be slapping him. You don't know.
Oh, I thought you. Oh, okay. Which either way.
And lucky for you, I just bought brand new tortillas.
He sure did.
Oh, that'd be brutal if they were stale.
We tried
and hard.
to do it with
Like, hit you with a frisbee.
The last person we had Bart Herbison on, and he did tortilla slap, and I was like, yeah, we can't do it because these things are like a year old and hard as a rock.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. And we think we would have broken his jaw.
That would not be good.
No.
All right, are you familiar with this, Tom?
I've seen it online, yeah.
Okay. So what we're going to do is you take a sip of water, you hold it in your mouth, right? Mm-hmm. And then we rock, paper, scissors, and whoever loses gets slapped by the tortilla. All right.
I can do it.
All right, so take your headphones off.
I'll do it. Let me get it. All right.
Golly.
Just relax. We're in a friendly environment.
It's a safe environment.
Just
It's fine.
show the nice attorney where David touched you on the dial.
Wow.
That's a first.
Of all the things I said, that's the one that's over the line. Do I put the water in now?
Sure, yeah, good.
Oh, here we What? Oh! That was the weediest slap of all time.
Thank you for saying that. I appreciate it. I was worried I was going to be. They were going to call me Lefty. You know, hey man, Thomas Cooley lost his eye.
Really?
I'm about to take him out with it. Oh, dude, do you want to go again, or are you good?
No,
I'm fine with it. Yeah.
All right, now, Tom.
Yes.
You're not done.
Do I headphone up?
Oh.
Okay.
Now is what we consider the Twangtown initiation.
Yes, this is it.
I have to tell you who my favorite Playboy Playmate of the 80s was?
Yes.
Tawny Katane.
Oh,
I mean, what?
Get on that hood,
said
girl.
that?
Yeah. Let's Google search that.
David said that.
No, this is the
Okay.
best. This is where it is.
Okay.
So we have here a bottle of Atomic Rhino smelling salts.
Yeah.
And so everybody's done it. Nobody's died. Nobody's cried. Well, some people have cried.
I cried.
Won't you cry?
We've all done it.
Angie Apparel.
We've all done it. It's safe. It's awesome. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand you the bottle.
If I get knocked out at a football game,
Yeah.
this is what you give me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to hand you the bottle. You're going to hold it about right here and just go. And that's it.
That's it.
What if I
That's all you gotta
vomit?
do. You won't vomit.
Do you have cat litter to pick up the vomit?
You won't vomit.
You'll be fine.
Closer.
Sniff.
Oh, God. Oh, wait, hold on. It just hit my eye. Holy fuck. Oh, sorry. Wait. I don't want to have swearing too. Here, hand it to me again. No, dude, it hit me in the eye.
Do you want it again?
Yeah, I want to pretend like you're doing it for the first time.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Get it up.
Where do I hold it?
You
Right
gotta
up here.
get it up in
And
your
just
nose.
sniff real hard. Closer. Sniff real hard.
Oh my God! It's like someone poured chlorine in my nasal canal. Dang! Woo!
I love that you had to go back a second time.
That'll clear you right out.
Yeah, I love that we've got all the audio.
That's exactly. That won't be funny to anybody.
That'll
like
be
if
fun.
you hear it, if you see it, maybe. But yeah.
Oh,
That's why we video that one portion, just to get your reaction, because it's always a good
How
time.
many episodes have you guys done of this?
4,000.
This will be like in the upper 40s.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
We're
Very
nearing
cool.
50.
Very cool.
Yeah.
It's been fun, man. We started it as we don't know what we're doing. We still don't know what we're doing, but we've had some great guests on.
Oh, speaking of which,
yeah,
we're at our right past our 1 year anniversary. So
we are.
Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary.
September 20th was the first episode that we released. So David was gone.
Congratulations to us.
We didn't get to do it last week, and then you were out of town. So, but yeah. So happy birthday to Twangtown.
Yes, happy birthday to
Happy birthday.
Twangtown.
Popping bottles. They're popping bottles at Losers later on tonight. Just come by for free booze. They're buying.
Yeah. Tom, thank you so much for coming
Yeah,
on.
man. This is
hanging out
awesome.
with us.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you for always being a big champion of the song and the songwriter, and
No doubt.
and thank you for giving
everything.
Thank you for hanging out with me back in the day, and
Yeah, man.
and giving Kentucky Boy a chance. So we
Even
appreciate
with
you, man.
Bubbles, we
Even
still
with
love you.
Bubbles. I
I
love
wanna
that
hear
you
that
bring up
song.
all these great songs from these songwriters, and that's what you remember about me.
honestly, when I was asking you about where I was coming today, I texted Ben Vaughn. He had to remind me the title. I couldn't remember the title,
God.
but Ben quickly, he's got that dude remembers everything. So I always need him, or I either need somebody to spur my memory or someone to tell me that.
Yeah.
I remember.
Right.
But dude, well,
gotcha.
thank you, man.
Man,
We
thank you
appreciate
guys.
it.
Thank you guys
Colt,
for having me.
Tell them where they can find us.
Yes,
and all
we
that.
are available on all streaming platforms. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Rate, like, share, subscribe, comment.
Yeah, do
all the
stuff.
things.
Do all the stuff.
No thumbs down, only thumbs up.
Only
That's right.
thumbs up. I like thumbs up.
Put your thumbs in the air, wave them like you just don't care.
Thanks, kids. We'll
Nice
see you
time.
later.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.